Hey everyone, welcome to this video where we are going to talk about how to write good APIs in Node.js using Postel's law. Postel's law is also known as the robustness principle and it can help you make your APIs more reliable, user-friendly and adaptable. So in this video, we'll cover the core ideas behind Postel's law and show some practical code examples for implementing it in your Node.js API. So what is Postel's law? Postel's law can be summed up in this phrase: be conservative in what you send, be liberal in what you accept. In other words, when building an API, be strict in sending responses to clients, always stick to a well defined format. Be flexible in what your API accepts from clients, allow minor variations in input without breaking. So let's look at a simple example in Node.js to see how we can implement it in our code. So basic Node.js API setup, let's go ahead and create a folder called Node.js Postel and open that and open your command prompt and type in code dot. So let's open this folder inside VS Code. And then you can open the terminal inside of VS Code and type in npm init-y to initialize the project. And let's install Express, which we'll be using as the framework for building this API. And so what we have to do is first let's do const express is equal to require express and const app is equal to express and app.use express.json, and we'll start the server at port 3000 and we'll console log out server running on port 3000 and test it out, see if it's working. And here we're using express available framework and our server is now running on port 3000. Now let's add a basic API route. So let's focus on the first part of Postel's law. Be conservative in what you send. This means your API sends a response. It should always be well structured and follow the defined format. Let's create a route to fetch user information. For that, let me create a sample user data. So const users is equal to an array of objects. And our route will be as follows: app.get, and we'll say /API/user/id, and const user is equal to users.find, and we'll say that user id will be equal to the id coming from the request. And if user, we'll send a 200 status and then a JSON object containing status success and data object containing user id, username and age. Else we'll send a 400 response and we'll say status error and message user not found. So this route responds with the user data. Notice how we are conservative in our response. The response structure is always the same, whether successful or an error. We're using clear keys like status, data and message to avoid ambiguity. Be liberal in what you accept. Now let's focus on the second part of Postel's law. So in this case, we want to be flexible in accepting inputs from the client. So let's say we have a route to update user information. So it'll be /API/user/id. But here what we'll do is, if user, be liberal in what we accept and allow extra fields, right? So we'll destructure the response, the request body, to include name, age and any other fields. And we'll say if name, we'll update the name, and if age, we'll update the age and send back the appropriate response. And so let's go ahead and test all these changes out in Postman. So basically, while sending the request, here we can see that the user is updated, and here is the error scenario. Like for example, if the ID is something that is not in our user's object, the sample data, right? And then you can put this inside a try catch, right? So this will make error handling a bit more graceful. That's another important part of being liberal, is graceful error handling. So so robust error handling is also added. So this is kind of like how we can write a good API based on Postel's law. And by following this principle, your APIs will be more resilient, user friendly and easier to integrate with. I hope you found this video useful, Don't forget to like and subscribe for more developer tips and tutorials. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Goodbye.